everyone, again this is Ella, and for today I'm gonna be talking about the terrible world after death. Do you think that there's another world and life after death? I bet it would be a wonderful experience, right? Now here we go. These statements varies from place to place. For example, in Western religions, they think that after death, the soul must be judged either to go to heaven or hell, no reincarnation. In Buddhism, they believe that there is six reincarnation after death. It's like what we said in our last video. In the virtual world, if this world is virtual, then death may mean that your virtual world is game over. You exit this game and then return to the original world. Others say that there's a change of dimensions after death. It's like the world we live in is a three-dimensional world. There may be chances that it would go to a higher dimension or it may be reduced to a lower dimension. Those with memories of previous lives may still be in a three-dimensional world because those who are in the lower dimensional life cannot understand how it is like to live in higher dimensional life. It's like an ant crawling on one page of a book. It doesn't know how many that book has. Those who may have past life memories of people, it is to maintain this dimension of a man. The most scientific explanation of death is that a soul disappears after death. There are short-term death cases. It is called near-death experience. If such a person experiences near-death scenarios, he or she must remember what they saw. There is a call after near-death experience. A person who experienced it must have a credibility. For example, a person experiencing the near-death experience must be someone who never believed in the mortem world before he was near death. It must have a certain reputation because there is a certain popularity. It must be very influential. In 2012, an author wrote a book, Proof of Heaven. The book is very popular in the US, with more than 2 million copies sold. In this book, the author describes the scenes he saw through his near-death experience. The author of this book was Eben Alexander, who was a doctor and neurologist. His father is also a very famous neurosurgeon, and their family is famous for medical lawyers and various social elites. He graduated from the famous American university, which is Duke University, in 1980. At a very young age, Eben was a brain surgeon and neurosurgeon in the United States. He has said many times that he did not believe to the post-death scenarios. As a neurosurgeon doctor, he has repeatedly pulled his patients off the death line, and many have described his dying experience to him. He asked one of his patients that what's most likely encounter death. He said that he was inside of a blocked tunnel and can see nothing. But he saw a very bright light in the distance, which is getting closer to him. As it appears nearer, the patient recalled that he saw his father, who has died a long time ago. As time went by, Eben encountered many patients who told a similar plot. But as a brain science doctor, Eben didn't believe that much about this kind of things. What he believed is that it was all an illusion of memory of the brain. The American Medical Association conducted a survey and compiled this report to this near-death experience that occurred across the country, and there are few particularly well-known cases. The first case was in 1985. There's this woman who narrated how she encountered near-death experience. She was on her hospital bed unconscious. Her body was slowly floating and floating. After getting up in the bed, she floated out of the hospital through the ceiling and stood on the top floor of the entire hospital building. She then looked at everything very clearly, not like a dream. Then, a hole appeared on the ground. She fell, immediately returned back to the operating room, back to her own body. After that, the woman woke up. She then said to the nurses that there were red shoes on the rooftop of the hospital. The nurses just nodded and eventually let her rest, insisting she might be just dreaming. Later, the nurse went to the top of the building inadvertently. As a result, she saw a pair of red shoes on the floor the woman was referring to. She was shocked and afraid at the same time because The rooftop is generally a restricted area, even if there are such exaggerated cases, as these patients just mentioned are not such credible characters themselves. There is also a very famous case in 1973 when a woman rushed into a hospital because of a traffic accident. The woman said she saw herself lying in bed while the medical personnel were trying to rescue her, but she couldn't move. She just stood in the room and watched everyone save her life. She remembered the location of all the equipments in the hospital and all the staff who rescued her right after she woke up. The doctor was shocked because the woman was absolutely right. And what's more intriguing is that this woman was born blind. So in theory, it is absolutely impossible for her to produce through the brain's memory or hallucinations, even if there are such exaggerated cases as these patients just mentioned are not such credible characters themselves, so everything they say might also be an illusion. Edwin saw this report. He didn't think that there was anything particularly strange until 2008, when his own experience in this matter thoroughly changed his view and perception. November 10th, 2008, he was normally sleeping at home. Around 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, he suddenly felt a back pain. He was struggling to sit up. He was in a sleeping paralysis. His wife slept beside him. At 5 or 6 in the morning, his wife woke up and suddenly found out that he's not responding anymore. She immediately rushed him to the hospital. Evan's colleague and doctor examined him and found a bacterial meningitis. What kind of disease is this? The human spinal cord and brain have a layer of membrane called a medullary membrane. The membrane is infected with bacteria and inflamed. It is a very serious and dangerous disease. According to the type of infection associated membrane bacteria, the lethality of this disease is different. At the time, the infected bacteria was E. coli, which was the most serious one, and the lethality reached more than 90%, even if it's 10% lucky enough to survive the disease. The probability of these serious complications is 100%. On the other side, Evan survived the disease. Luckily, he didn't leave any sequelae. This is also the first case of severe meningitis without any sequelae in the world history. He felt a little scared at first. According to him, a very dazzling light rose above his head. The light quickly fell down. All the dark surroundings around him altered in a very bright. He entered a bright tunnel and was transmitted to a certain place. He could vaguely hear that people here are like in the church. There was a very pleasant kind of music, and he said that he has never seen this kind of world before. It's not an ordinary world like us. A young woman suddenly appeared next to him. He didn't know this woman, and this woman told him that there's still many people who loved him in that world. After that, the woman just appeared. Suddenly, he saw a cloud coming out in front. After entering it, he entered another world. Each world was different, and finally, he entered the block tunnel. He returned to the real world. He saw himself lying in bed in a coma, and his family was praying around him. He then decided to return to his body and woke up. During his coma, his brain was not working, and he was infection called meningitis, the inflammation of the nerves of the brain, and the state people will not remember anything. There will be no dreams, no hallucinations, and no memories. Let's talk more about his life before this thing happened to him. In fact, he was abandoned by his parents. His father was only 18 years old and his mother was only 16 years old, and his parents gave birth to him. He was adopted by a doctor since then. Evan had to work hard to study and become an excellent doctor. He always knew that he was adopted, but he never met his biological parents. His biological parents later married and gave birth, which is Evan's brother and sister. Until 53 years old, he finally met his biological parents. He asked where his brother and sister were, but they said that his sister passed away 11 years ago. She died in an accident. His parents have heard Evan's experience back from the dead. He asked for her sister's photo, and to his surprise, the woman he saw in his near-death experience is his sister. Coupled with the matter of her sister, he completely believed that what he saw was definitely not an illusion because his sister's voice did not exist in his memory at all. So he later wanted to say that he felt particularly happy upon meeting his sister in a different world. When he understood everything, he said that death was not the end of life. He felt particularly happy to live now, with fear or without fear. Now, there is another world to live after death, and the world must be cherished. Before, as a doctor, it seems like he didn't believe or care particularly about life and death, but now, his family, his happiness is important. So he eventually gave up being a doctor and became a writer to share his experiences. He also had hopes that one day, science can explain this matter and will not directly deny that this situation exists in real life. Do you have any ideas to share? Leave us a comment down below and let's talk about it. Don't forget to subscribe. See ya!